Hey guys, welcome to another Genshin Impact video. Today I'm going to talk about whether or not a full Archon team would be viable. So just a quick disclaimer, since there are only 3 playable Archons in the game, you need to add another character, which should actually be a DPS because all the current Archons in the game are currently supports. Vol is arguably at most a sub DPS, so you would need a main DPS on your team. The main DPS that I recommend would be Eula or Rosaria. I'm gonna get into that shortly. So, but first, let's talk about the synergy between the Archons themselves. So first we have Zhongli and Venti, and the problem with that is it could actually be related to lore. That apparently the Animal Archon and the Geo Archon don't get along very well. You can see this from the voice lines and some hints in the game lore. And actually, if you look at it from a resonance standpoint, literally Geo is the only element that doesn't resonate, doesn't react with Anemo. Geo and Anemo are the only 2 elements in the game that don't react with one another. You cannot proc Swirl with Geo, and you cannot create Anemo shields with Geo either. So that's an issue. Now, fortunately, that's where Ball comes in, because with Ball you could proc a Venti's Swirl reaction, and you could also create Electro shields with Zhongli. So she pretty much fills in the gap between those 2. Now, why do I recommend Eula? Well, that's because with this, you would only be able to proc, I mean, if you have the 3 Archons on your team, you will only be able to proc another elemental reaction other than Swirl when it comes to damage, because with Zhongli, all you can do is create shields, so that doesn't really affect damage. Now, why do I recommend Eula? Is because Eula is a physical DPS, or Rosaria, and she has the ability to easily apply cryo with her E. Now, unfortunately, with the current state of Electro, you can only have one elemental reaction that's within the meta, and that is superconduct. And what superconduct does, it generates an explosion, and after that, well, it deals some AoE damage, but the most important part is that it reduces the enemy's the enemy's physical resistance by 40% for the next 12 seconds. So if you have Eula on your team, because she is a physical DPS, she really benefits from this and the fact that she can easily apply cryo. So if you have Raiden Shogun on your team, all you have to do is use her E, and then you use Eula's E, and you can easily apply cryo every few seconds. And you can trigger the superconduct elemental reaction every few seconds. And you can pretty much have the permanent 40% physical resistance decrease on your enemies. So this is actually pretty good, and this is why I recommend Eula or Rosaria if you don't have that 5-star. Now let's actually test it out. I'm going to test it on this domain so you can see how it works. Now and then I'm going to show you my build on each. So you can see that it's not that I have like super god artifacts or and such. No, I'm gonna show you my build later. But first, let me showcase this. So we have the 3 Archons and Eula. So it's only gonna take some seconds to clear this out. So we pop up the ult. We use this. There we go. There we go. Alright, so as you can see, I literally have I use 3 ults and I already have them again. I can use them again, so I could literally be doing this all day because thanks to Ball, the energy recharge is, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, this is literally the best energy recharge battery in the entire game. Now let's talk about artifacts and my build. So I don't really have god artifacts on this team, like normal artifacts. So right now um, I'm using these two sets, Pale Flame and Bloodstained Chivalry, because I want to get the 50, I want to get a total of 50% additional uh, physical damage for Eula passively. I mean, I could use the full set of Pale Flame, but the problem is that it actually requires some build. You gotta build up in every fight. So I actually wanna, if you just wanna have an easy build, you can just use this and it would always work. While if you have full Pale Flame set, you would actually need to proc an elemental skill, and you would have some downtime. So that's actually why I'm using this. Now for the weapon, I'm using a 4-star weapon. I'm actually using a 3-star weapon for Zhongli, because I'm using him on a full shield build, so that's why I'm using this weapon. Then I have this on ball. If you don't have this, no problem, you can use this. The difference is not that high, especially when you are only using her elemental burst. So I already did a video on this, which is actually the previous video. If you want to look into that, it's a comparison between the catch, Skyward and Skyward Spine. And for Benti, I'm using this. Now, actually, I'm using this because I like how it looks on him, but it would actually be better if I use this. So you could actually use this 4-star bow on him instead of this. The difference wouldn't be that much, and actually, it would arguably be better if I use this, because it deals 40% additional damage on his elemental burst and elemental skill. And yeah, guys, so as you can see, it's not that I'm really using godly artifacts. So of course I'm using Viridescent Veneer on him, and on Vol I'm using her best in slot artifact set, which is this. So about the stats, I don't really have like god artifacts. You can see I have some HP here and there's some defense. So there's not really, they're good artifacts, but they're not the best artifacts. And when it comes to constellations, I have C0 Eula, I have C0 Ball, I have C2 Venti, which doesn't really make that much of a difference, and I have C2 Zhongli. Now if I have C3 Zhongli, that would actually make more of a difference, because it would increase his damage from Dominus Lapidus by this, or but I don't. So as you can see, I know that having a full 5-star team is pretty well intensive on its own. But again, if you don't have Eula, you could use Rosaria, and pretty much it is a viable alternative. Alright guys, so that's it for now. Now, if you have any other ideas of a viable team comp that uses all Archons, feel free to let me know in the comments. Another thing that people could recommend is using Tartaglia, because you could use him and trigger Electrocharge. Now the problem is that unless you have C6 Tartaglia, which by the way I don't, you're gonna have some downtime, because Tartaglia has this annoying cooldown, and unless you have C6 Tartaglia, you're gonna have to switch character and use something else. So you're gonna have some downtime unless you have C6 Tartaglia. Alright guys, so that's it for now, and until next time.